Hello Game fans! With the impending release of the fantastic looking Wunderhaven, I wanted to take a look at more upcoming games like Stardew Valley, since the farming sim is one of my favourite genres due to how chill it can be. As compared to 100% wholesome or cozy games, modern entries in the genre tend to have some light combat elements together with the farming, relationships and crafting, so let's take a look at what's coming up. Let's begin with Everafter Falls, a charming little title that has quite a macabre setup. You die in a car accident, but then realize that life as you knew it was a simulation, waking up in the cozy Everafter Falls where you rediscover a whole new life here. I like the cutesy art style and animal villages, definitely having some sorts of influence from Animal Crossing, where you're helping these creatures with various tasks, which I assume will involve the usual farming, fishing and crafting. As mentioned, there is combat in this with various dungeons to explore, adding some Zelda-style action to this genre. The pet that follows you around and helps in every aspect looks adorable, and with some existential questions being posed about life itself, it should be quite the introspective title as well. Many new titles feature in this video that have never been previously covered on the channel, the first of which is Song of the Prairie, a 3D entry that looks wonderful, but may still be rather early on in development. It has you moving to the town and unexpectedly becoming the mayor of it, where it seems like you have the choice of becoming a respectable or indifferent mayor, which means branching choices. Interestingly, this is a magical land where cows can grow fruit and even produce flavoured milk after eating them, and thus have rideable mounts as well. On top of the farming aspect, you do have to lay out public facilities and features of the town, adding a city building element, all with a neat look, so I'm down for this. A title currently on Kickstarter which I want to give a very special shout out is A New Leaf Memories, one that is inspired by the classics like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing and indie darling Stardew Valley. This is basically a greatest hits compilation of all of the above, not really pushing the envelope so to speak, but does seem to be doing all of the above very well. It does use the classic amnesiac setup, where you awaken on the island with no memory of your past, but when the mayor gives you a small plot of land, it's off to the races with the gameplay that we have come to expect. there's farming, cooking, mining, fishing, raising animals and more, with player and housing customization as well, all with a neat 3D look that does look pleasant. The land is split into 5 areas: your farm, the main town, a forest, the mountains and the beach, with 4 seasons that will affect what you find. So again, nothing too crazy here, but I do love that there are 4 varieties each of cats and dogs that you can get as a pet. In a nice surprise, I noticed that this is from a team based in Singapore, so I'm always happy to help spread the word, and with this already being 80% funded as of recording with plenty of time to go, do hop on over to the campaign page to check out the rewards.
If you had a chance to abandon everything you know and start a new life, would you do it?
A pixel art title of interest is Dragon Acres, where this developer is part of my Discord channel, so do join that and discover more great indie games.
Collect and raise huge dragons, bond with them, and uncover their secrets.
Of course, the highlight has to be the dragons, which apparently can help in the farming and combat as well, but I do like this slant on the genre, so it gets a spot.
Who knows? Perhaps you will discover mysteries that lie within. Your new dragon can't wait to meet you. So what are you waiting for? Adventures at Dragon right away.
A number of indie developers are merging the classic farming sim with different genres, where Spirits of the Island is an example of just that, having you rebuild this tropical paradise into a tourist destination, which is done through classic farming elements, but also allows you to place buildings and renovate the town, looking pretty clever and of interest. One Lonely Outpost had a successful Kickstarter campaign, having a sci-fi slant since it is set on an alien planet. As a newly arrived colonist, you need to establish your outpost, having to choose between regular or robo-cows for example, and as you build up the farm, more NPC characters will arrive, which is where the relationship systems kick in. There are ancient, alien ruins to explore and secrets to uncover, with a nice variety of activities and minigames as well, which makes it quite the varied experience. Excited to see what you will fish up on an alien planet, and to explore the intricacies of the high-tech farming, plus the pixel art here is fantastic, so I'm definitely down for this. One of the most impressive games in development is Wunderhaven, where you play as the lone surviving peasant of a long line of them, being summoned to a failing kingdom in hopes that you can help to make it more prosperous. There's plenty of clearing and ploughing the land, planting crops and building machines in order to generate the resources that you need, with a whopping 50 NPC townsfolk to befriend as well, and does have some pretty good looking dungeon crawling action. This somehow has a tower defense element as well, although I'm not sure how that works with the farming sim, where if you fail at that part, for example, does it mean that the monsters invade and destroy the town so that it's game over? The developers have gone for a certain vibe with this game with the choice of the colour palette and lighting, which nails the vibe that I think they're going for with the whole decrepit kingdom thing, but for how ambitious this seems, it certainly got my attention. A title that is perhaps Zelda-style action-adventure first and farming sim second is Kitaria Fables, one starring anthropomorphic animals and where you play as a cat. You're gathering the resources needed to fight against a rising darkness, but nothing too grim-dark or scary here, giving me vibes of something like fantasy life. The farming and mining aspects are more in service of upgrading your equipment and to cook into provisions for combat, but it still counts in my book and is a title that I'm looking forward to. I covered Roots of Pacha when it was having its Kickstarter campaign, being a pixel art farming sim title set in prehistoric times, where you're essentially playing as a caveman leading the hunter-gatherer lifestyle who must help to establish a village in the Promised Land. Due to the time period, there isn't exactly a merchant that will sell you seeds and animals, which means foraging and domesticating plants from the wild and to alter their value through the generations. Animals can also be befriended and tamed, where there is a very interesting concept of passing down knowledge through your clan. Things like tools can be researched, where you can hone and try ideas from your fellow townsfolk, so it's certainly a different type of game. It had a massively successful Kickstarter campaign, raising over 10 times its goal, so a good sized budget for an ambitious game that I hope will be great. Like Wunderhaven mentioned earlier, Len's Island is a less cutesy take on the farming sim, having you chopping down trees and constructing your farm on this island, where a major part of the game is the dungeon crawling and exploration, where can I say that this looks fantastic. It's an interesting blend of genres and ideas again, contrasting the peaceful farming and foraging aspect with the action, where your ultimate goal is to seek out some secret or treasure on the island. Best part is that this should be releasing sometime this year, so I'm looking forward to this. A magical farming sim that looks very much like Stardew Valley and is not Chucklefish's Witch Brook is Brookhaven, a pixel art title with a wonderful look where a wizard has trapped you in a storybook and you have to start life anew, but perhaps we'll be able to escape someday. I love the magical setting where there are creatures like werewolves, centaurs, mermaids, goblins and more roaming the land, and you can even learn how to perform magic, such as the example of transforming into a bat in the trailer. There's the expected farming sim elements like growing crops, fishing, crafting, cooking and mining, with seasonal changes, a dungeon to explore and romanceable NPC characters. There's something a little off about the pixel art with regards to the resolutions of the characters versus the environmental objects, so perhaps that will get ironed out, but it's another title that should be launching pretty soon. Fans of the channel will be familiar with Garden Story since I've covered this multiple times before, where you play as a Greek and have to fight against the rot, tending to gardens and restoring parts of the island as you go along. It has one of the cutest looks, where like Kitaria Fables mentioned earlier, should be action-adventure first rather than farming, but does have those critical elements that makes it qualify for this list. A farming game where you are a cat is a concept that I am instantly sold on, and having kept an eye on Snacko for many years, I'm happy to see the progress made so far. Play as a former big city cat who moves to the island seeking a more fulfilling life, making friends with the townsfolk while farming, fishing, mining, and building a farm. I like the look here, using 2D character sprites but 3D environments, which gives it a unique look and is one way to stand out visually. However, things are not as they seem, with a curse on the island and a mysterious miasma which is causing monsters to spawn, so venture forth and solve the mystery, although there doesn't appear to be combat in this and does seem pretty wholesome overall. It's no secret that I love monster taming titles since I did grow up with Pokemon, so when you combine that with a farming sim, of course I'm all in on Monster Harvest. Grow, collect, and mutate your crops known as planimals, which is a combination of the words plant and animal, taking them into battle with turn-based combat as you explore and protect the town against the evil Slime Cole. Love the pixel art look, and I'm interested to see the planimal designs, so it gets a high spot on the list. Another Kickstarter success story is Coral Island, getting fully funded in just 36 hours and ending with 23 times its goal. So talk about a game with amazing potential. This comes to us from an Indonesian developer, so Southeast Asia represent, and is a farming sim title set on a tropical island with an environmental message to tell. On top of the expected elements mentioned above, one unique hook is that you're able to dive underwater to clean up the coral reef, doing your part to save this essential part of the marine ecosystem. I do also love the character portrait designs with a wonderful hand-drawn art style that I love, and the 3D environments and character models are not too shabby either. Other highlights include RPG mechanics in the progression with a full-on skill tree, a more extensive dungeon crawling experience, and a town building aspect where you can take part in community projects to upgrade the town, looking to be an excellent realization of the farming sim, taking the #1 spot. For more recommendations of relaxing games, check out this video and I will see you after the jump.